Yo, people, what's going on? Back again with another Red Talk. Had we telling me, my guy?
I'm all good, bro. I'm all good. What are you saying?
I am calm, bruv. I'm calm. Can't complain. Shout out the chat. Don't know. Make sure you get them likes up, bruv. We need at least 200 of those. Boy, as it stands, man ain't got no number one goalkeeper, fam. What's going on?
Bro, you tell me. You tell me. I think United always do this. You know what it is? To me, it feels like United don't want to commit. I think if they commit towards a striker, they know the P's ain't there for a keeper. If they commit for a keeper, they know the P's ain't there for a striker. And I've always said it. The problem is, especially in today's day and age, when you want a keeper that's competent across everything, like distribution, sweeping, claiming, shot stopping, those keepers are expensive. If you want a 9 that can score goals and offer all the other intangibles, that's also an expensive striker. And bro, from the looks of it, I don't even know if the P's are there or if the P's aren't there or if the P's are just being held back for now. But bro, I'll be real. Like preseason is in what? Actually, no, preseason started. I saw photos today of people turning up to training. So I don't know.
You know what it is, yeah. Like I don't think that hey, big up Adam in the chat. I don't think that necessarily it's that the P's aren't there. It's just that they're not being made accessible in it because I think that there's too much going on behind the scenes. I think the Mason Mount signing, I think that was a signing kind of like I wouldn't be surprised if that signing was in the works for a little while. Do you know what I mean? That doesn't look like a signing that they just decided just now. All right, cool, we're gonna go for him. I wouldn't be surprised if they were in talks with this brother from last season. And it's one of them ones where that's the reason why I think that one's gone through because, yeah, bruv, it's not really making too much sense right now, bruv. It's not making too much sense right now. The lack of movement, I can only put that down to the impending takeover, bruv, because nothing else makes sense.
Yeah, no. That's facts. That's what it is. I think going into the summer, everybody expected it because they were like, listen, like we know how Man United operate. We know how the Glazers operate. Yeah, like I think in the past 2 months, these men have set 3 different deadlines. Like this is the final deadline, take it or leave it, and then bam, 2 weeks later. To be fair, they've gotten what they wanted. They turned it into like a bidding war between Ratcliffe and the Arabs. And bro, at the end of the day, they're the man that are going to benefit the most out of it because they get to get more P's and it's probably under their terms. But from a footballing point, bro, we might be pissed. And I'll be real. I personally think what will happen with De Gea is I wouldn't be surprised if De Gea signs a 2-year deal and then United go and sign a younger keeper. And it just means next year United can offload David De Gea. But because he'll have 12 months left, United can generate some cash for him because United, bro, I think United will be looking at David De Gea thinking, yo, like, man can get at least 10, 15 for you. So I'm not going to let you go for cheap.
Yeah, but they've already let man go because right now he's not in a contract. Do you understand what I'm saying? So for me, it doesn't make sense to then re-sign him to then get more money for him because it's like if we are going to do that, we could have done that earlier on. Do you understand? Like that's the only thing that I don't get. Well, from the way I'm looking at it, we didn't sign him before his contract ran out. So it would make absolutely no sense signing him now. None whatsoever. Like
Nah. I get that. But what I mean
only to
is
cash in on him at a later date. Like that's weird.
but what I mean is like I don't think it was the priority for him to sign a new deal. So I think United probably thought, listen, like we can let a man go, get a better keeper for a cheaper price. God knows, they probably thought the funds would be there and the takeover would be done as of the end of the season. Because I remember in January when the takeover talk started, like everybody was saying, yeah, this will be done and dusted, finalized by April, May. Yeah, next thing you know, we're in July now. So I think what it is with United, and United, like in the summer transfer windows, we tend to panic proper quick. And bro, I'll be real, I think that's the main reason why they've kept De Gea just there, like on the side. And the thing that doesn't help is he's adamant. Like he wants to stick around. Like another keeper with this treatment would be like, listen, like I'm leaving, like I'm going somewhere else. But he's adamant on staying.
But he knows he can't go nowhere else. You know, like that. Where else is he gonna go? Like, this is just what it is. He has to go Saudi Arabia. That's why he wants to stay at Man
Mm.
United. He'll rather stay at Man United and be a side man than go somewhere else, because there's no decent teams in world football that want him, especially not as a number one. Where does he go? As a
No, no,
number
no.
one.
That's true. That is true. But I still feel like there are plenty of teams out there like Serie A, La Liga, this and that don't really care whether their keeper is a ball playing one or not. Yeah, but I think with David De Gea,
But not top
bro, it's the
clubs, though.
wages. The wages are ridiculous, and
Yeah.
you have to bear in mind if he's a free agent, the signing on bonus is gonna be ridiculous. Like, so I think a lot of teams are taking that into consideration, and I think he's not really compromising from his end because he still feels like he's at the top of the food chain. Like, oh, I should be getting A, B, C, and D. And I'll be real, bro. Like, it's a shit show, but I just feel for the manager. I'll be honest, because imagine starting preseason and like, as far as I know, De Gea won't even be allowed to turn up to preseason, no, because he's not a United player. So it's like,
Yeah, but man's key card is flashing red, blood. You know them ones. He can't get in. You know, like that. I don't know what's gonna happen, bro. But personally, like Super Chat Jerome, man said the way that De Gea has been treated is crazy. He's a United legend. If they knew they weren't gonna keep him, at least give him a proper send off. These Glazers are trash. And bro, listen, I don't see things like that in it. Like the way, bro, listen, De Gea gave himself a send off, yeah, against Seville, blood, when he fumbled that ball into the net, fam. You know, like that, bruv. Now listen, I'm telling you, he's a bum. I don't care. I don't think he deserves a good send off in football, blood, because after that Brer held the club ransom, yeah, for that new contract, yeah, was trying to do the bad man thing. You know what I'm saying, bro? Never forget that, innit? I'll never forget that when he tried to bad up the club, bro. And then we ended up giving him 375k. I said at the time we shouldn't have given him the new contract. And I stand by that shit, bro. Because since we gave him that new contract, bro, what has he done for it? So I don't think the club owe him anything, bro. Like, it's not like he was here for free. He was the highest paid player at the club for three of the last 4 years? Come on, bro. Like, bruv, the club don't owe him nothing, blood. We overpaid him for all that time and he underperformed. So we don't owe him shit, innit? It's one of them ones where, like, I don't think we owe him a single thing, bruv. At the end of the day, like, he gets paid to stop the ball from going in the goal. He didn't do it very well. And he was the highest paid goalkeeper in world football. You like what more the fuck do you want? What more do you want, bruv? Shit don't make sense to me.
I get that, but I'll be real. At the same time, I look at it differently. Yeah. You see, when it comes to Man United, bro, like, Man United have that track record of disrespecting players. Now, at the end of the day, whether you think he's a legend or not, bro, you look at Man United, how they treated players like Sergio Romero when they've ended up leaving, Lingard, and the list.
Yeah, but Romero, I actually feel worse for Romero because Romero was there. He was a model professional, never really let us down when he played, you know, like that. And he was just there, bro. And he was just happy to be at the club. Do you know what I mean? His body language was always good. He looked like he was just helpful and nice to have around. De Gea's a miserable prick, blood. Like, just moody, fam. Like, all the time, bro. And the thing is, he's meant to be a senior player, yeah, but how often do you see him do senior player things, bro? Like, David De Gea comes out once in a blue moon, yeah, does an interview. Most of the time he's moaning. But other than that, bruv, like, it's not like he's doing the model professional senior thing where he's coming out and he's doing the club on his back thing. David De Gea just cares about David De Gea, bro. Like, I'll be real. I don't really care about that guy. It's not like that. Look how long he's been at the club. He's been there since Sir Alex Ferguson, yeah? And he don't move like that. You know, like that. He moves bare entitled.
Yeah, no. But as in, at the end of the day, like, firstly, David De Gea is not the only one in this United camp that has that arrogance to him, where like he thinks he's the main guy and he's worthy of whatever he demands. Like, bro, when you look at Man United, the environment within that whole camp, like, every player that walks into our team just thinks I'm the main guy. I should get whatever I want. It's no surprise you see so many players regress rather than improve season after season. But now with David De Gea, I'll be real, like, I've been adamant. I wanted him gone for the past 5 years, but I'm not gonna like rewrite history and say like during United's worst of periods, bro. Like, I'm talking like LVG, like Mourinho in particular, yeah. And let's be real, bro. Like, back then, it wasn't that common to have a keeper that's like ball playing and this and that, especially in the Prem. And bro, Like back then, it was a fair shout when people were coming out and saying he's the best keeper in the world. Give him whatever amount he wants. Like I remember when the fax machine incident happened with Real Madrid, every United fan was celebrating. But it's just he's gone out in a bitter way, and that's why like I feel like people have turned on him. But nah. For me, bro, like man's been there for 12 years. He's had good years. I still feel like he deserves a better send off rather than. Like at the end of the day, I always look at it from an employee's point of view. Bro, if you get promised 2 months ago, like Rants, we're going to give you X amount of money on this date. We've lined up the contract for you, just sign it. And then you do your part and you sign it. And then what? Man turns around a month later and looks at you and says, yeah, I'm not signing the deal, the contract that I writ up myself. Bro, that's disrespectful.
Yeah, but bro, like the thing is, we don't know, yeah? This is all speculation. We do not know. We don't know what's happened. And the thing is, yeah, what I don't want to get caught up in, yeah, because I've been on both sides of it, yeah, is us assuming, yeah, that like everything was agreed and then it wasn't, bro, because somewhere along the line, there's a bit of that and there's a bit of something else. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like David De Gea, yeah, could have well said, yeah, cool, I'll stay, but I want assurances that I'm going to be the number one goalkeeper. And maybe the manager said, no, listen, we want you to stay, but I can't give you those assurances. Because if you remember, the manager done a press conference and they said something about David De Gea and he said something about this is Manchester United, yeah? Like there needs to be competition for places. That was the message he gave. So he was letting man know that, cool, you can stay, but I'm not guaranteeing you that you're going to be the number one. Do you understand what I'm saying? And maybe that weren't good enough for man, and maybe that's where the standoff is.
No,
because the manager's gone out of his way to let man know that this is Man United. There's going to be competition for places in every position. Even if you stay, man's not saying you can stay and guaranteeing you that you're going to be my goalie. Like you're not. Like, do you know what I'm saying? And maybe that's where the sticking point is, bro. I don't think it's the money because De Gea's made it clear that he's willing to take a pay cut. So I think it's small details.
No. That's spot on. Like I've always said it from like months ago, and I think it's a case of he wants assurances that he will be number one. And the thing is, you've always seen with David De Gea, like when it comes to his character. And to be fair, once again, like it goes back to like the whole environment thing that I mentioned a few minutes ago. Like, bro, in this team, you can see a lot of these men can't handle competition. And like those are signs of a weak team with a weak mentality. Like those types of teams can't compete, can't be successful. And funny enough, when you look at Man United in the past decade, like, yeah, we've won tin pot trophies left, right, and center, but we haven't been like one of the top European teams. But nah, like with the whole assurances thing, I think with David De Gea, he's on a similar boat to many other players where it's like, I want to be guaranteed X amount of games. Like sometimes in a contract, you could say, sweet, if a player wasn't to get injured, they will play 30 plus games, no matter what. Like man can drop 0s out of 10 for 29 games on the trot, but he will still play because it's like a clause in his contract. Yep. I think, yeah, with De Gea, you've already seen like, this is another one. I don't know if it's true or not, but there was even a rumor that when Ollie was in charge, when he dropped him for Dean Henderson, it didn't go down well, apparently. I don't know if
they said
true,
that he bullied Ollie into him getting back into the team, bro. Like that's what they said. They said that he was putting it on Ollie, bruv, and Ollie bottled it, bro. Henderson alluded to the fact that De Gea was sulking and Ollie's bum went. You know them ones, because Henderson left and was talking brazy, blood. He's talking bare brazy. He was the one that was leaking bare shit on Twitter. Like, and he insinuated that David De Gea stuck it on Ollie and Ollie's bum went, bro. And he gave in to the pressure and he gave him back the number one slot. Because for a period, De Gea was playing in the cup games and Henderson was starting the league games. And then all of a sudden, I think Henderson tested positive for COVID and then couldn't play. And then after that, he just never brought him back.
Yeah, no. That's what it is. Like, there was even a report that said apparently Fergie got involved. Now I don't know if that's true or not. I'll be real.
Don't say that.
Nah, bro, there's a report that it's true. And like the thing is, you know, Fergie and De Gea have that, like they have that relationship, like especially because he's the one who signed him and he trusted him and he gave him that responsibility from young. Yeah, but nah, as in like that was a sign. That was a sign. Like you look at it, bro. Like even I forgot his name to be fair, but it was when LVG got appointed, and then he appointed a goalkeeper coach that started having like different demands and expectations of David De Gea.
They
Like,
got rid of him or something, innit?
yeah, he
yeah,
refused to train.
Yeah, because De Gea had his own goalkeeping coach, and then it got shifted in his contract. Yeah. And then he got a next. Why have you got your own goalkeeping coach? Like, do that in your own time if you want your own personal goalkeeping coach. Makes no sense.
That's what it was, bro. And it's like, even I remember there was like a little period where there was a drop off in performances. I can't remember the specific season, but it was like not too long ago. And I remember everybody came out and was like, you look at David De Gea when he had his coach, he was one of the best. When David De Gea got rid of his coach and the club had to appoint a coach, David De Gea's performances dropped off. And I remember like everybody was out petitioning, like, give David De Gea what he wants. Like, when you've got a camp where Mandem are choosing who coaches them, who starts them, who does this, who does that, right? It's destined to fail.
Oh, facts. 100%.
Bro, but this is what happens when the club's not run properly and players have too much autonomy and too much say in what goes on at the club. That should never be, bruv. This should never even be, it should never even be an option, especially at a club at the size of Manchester United. At the end of the day, as a player, you're an employee. Do you know what I mean? You don't choose the structure of the club. If this is your goalkeeping coach, this is your goalkeeping coach. If you want to go and get your own strength and conditioning coaches and physios and all these out, that's fine in your own time, innit? But when it comes to playing, I choose who your coach is. I choose how I want you to play. If you don't want to play that way or you can't play that way, I'll replace you and get a goalkeeper that wants to play the way I want to play, because the goalkeeper is the first line of attack. Do you know what I mean? And the last line of defense. So if I want you to work on certain things, bruv, it's not a conversation I'm willing to have, bro. You know what I'm saying? The man say, like, we don't negotiate with terrorists, bro. Like, bruv, man, I'm not negotiating, bro. Like, I'm telling you exactly what it is. And if you're not feeling it, on your bike, bruv.
No, that's right. There shouldn't be like I said, like you just said there, you're the employee, not the employer. So why are you dictating to us how things are going to go? Like 100. Should you have a say? Yes. Should you have an input to get the best out of you in terms of De Gea? Absolutely. But there's no way you should have your own goalkeeping coach. And the fact that Haj mentioned it, I do remember that when we did get rid of his personal goalkeeping coach, his form did dip. And that's not good, because we've seen this happen before. Not only that, people always like to conveniently forget when Van Gaal dropped him, when he had the whole issue of him not going to Real Madrid and Romero was playing. Yeah, was it Valdez? It was Valdez. Valdez. Yeah, Valdez. Like, people forget that wasn't 1 or 2 games. That was consistent at the start of the season. So that's when people are like, oh, we need to treat him better and all that. All right, so did he treat us well during that period? Football's a what have you done for me now sport. People love to conveniently feel that's not the way to treat a legend. Manchester United, we don't do this. So when he did that to us, that was okay. It's like, no, it's time to move him on. And I'm surprised he's a free agent, but I'm happy about it because he needs to be moved on.
100%.
I think what it is the fact that with Man United in the past 10 years, I feel like we've been, so it's like in a work sense, I feel like as a club, we've been desperate for the employees and the employees haven't been desperate for us, if you know what I mean. Like, so like, it's like, that's why players can roll in and demand X amount of money. They can demand for us to play in a certain way. Like, I remember players are walking in and demanding a shirt and this and that, bro. At the end of the day, like, I don't think any player rolls into Pep Guardiola's office or goes into Manchester City with demands. Those types of players are just over the moon to be like representing Manchester City because they know what they're going to get in return. With Man United, we weren't bringing trophies to the table. We weren't bringing play styles, player development to the table. All we were bringing was history and peas. So at the end of the day, Mandem can run the show.
And when people do that at Manchester City, we see what happened. That's why Cancelo got moved on. Because man called out Cancelo publicly. I can't remember what game it was, but Ake scored the winner, I believe. And then Pep said in the interview afterwards, every player bar one will be happy for him.
Yeah,
and
he didn't celebrate.
I was like, yo, and he did. I was like, yo, how you just go call out man like that? And then got rid of Cancelo in the middle of January when City were struggling. And they even get a replacement. So it's kind of like, that's the way you have to maneuver. That's the way you have to treat your team to know, despite the fact that we might not be in the best situation, you will still be moved on if you do indeed act up. Because if they didn't win anything this season, well, this past season just gone, everyone will be looking at that and going, oh, that's a mistake. How are you going to get rid of Cancelo, who's such a consistent performer, etc., etc.? But it worked. The team actually got better after he left.
Yeah, facts. And this is the thing though, like we need to start the way you get your club, yeah, the players to treat the club like a big club is by the club behaving. Like I always say, yeah, you have to, the culture change needs to be upstairs, in it, and it trickles all the way down. So if you behave like a big club and you have expectations of players like a big club, the players will adhere to that, bro. And that's why, yeah, us giving players, yeah, big contracts that they haven't earned. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I remember Luke Shaw was playing shit, man gets a big contract. All these other things, bro. It's a disgrace, bro. Like 190,000 a week, yeah, for a left back is absurd, bro. It's absurd. Like I can't
Especially for a
believe
left
it,
back not performing.
bruv.
Especially for a
It's
left back not performing.
absurd, bruv. And he's not the only one, bro. He's not the only one. When we go through our wage bill, yeah, when you look at Sancho, when you look at Martial, even when you look at Rashford, yeah, like most of these men are overpaid, blood. Like I know men are saying that Rashford's gonna get 350 and this, that, and the other, bro. Like respectfully, yeah, like he's no more than a 200k player, bro. Like he's no more than that. Do you know what I mean? And I think Mo Salah and them man was on around that. I think Riyad Mahrez is on like less than 200k, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the reason why Sancho's on so much money is because Man United couldn't offer him trophies, so they offered him money. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because Man United are in the mud, bro. Mount 250, bro. Our wage bill is a disgrace, not because it's high, but because it's ballers that don't deserve that money, bro. Like, how is our wage bill higher than City's, bro? And City got better players than us. How does that even begin to make sense?
That makes no sense.
How does that begin to make sense?
And
bro?
they produce at a better rate than what our players do. So you got two workforces, and one is being paid significantly higher than the other, but yet the one who's being paid less is operating at a higher level and actually producing at a higher level consistently. But you said it there, man. Like act like a big club, be royal in your fashion, like to be treated like a king, act like one, and we don't. That's the issue that Manchester United have. We don't. I like the De Gea move. That's why I really do like this, because had we had signed him to a new deal, we'd be here criticizing it, saying this is a backward step. When Ten Hag was bigging him up in press conferences during the season just gone and was saying, "Oh, he's going to be my number one. He's a good goalkeeper." People need to realize managers lie in press conferences all the time, because there's going to be a point where he might have to sell him.
No one lies more than that guy, bruv.
Yeah,
this guy is bruv. He's a serial liar, blood. Since he's come to Manchester United, yeah. What I rate about him is that, like, bro, in public he will not throw you under the bus, bro, and that must go a long way as a player, innit? But anything he says in a press conference, take it with a pinch of salt, because this bro does exactly the opposite most of the time, innit? And bruv, I rate it, like, because at least people used to complain when Jose used to throw players under the bus. And then now he's doing the exact opposite. He backs all of his players publicly, but it's what he does off the pitch is ultimately what we need to judge him on.
Yeah.
You know, like that.
Nah,
that's it.
What people need to realize is if he goes out there and absolutely slanders De Gea, not only could De Gea's performances during that period slip, he might have to sell De Gea at some point. So you're trying to sell an asset, and you've here downgraded it. So who's gonna what? It's like trying to sell a house and you just tell everybody about all the bad things about the house.
But this is it though, you know, like that. You got people coming around for the view and they be like, "Yo, blood," you know what I'm saying? The roof leaks, you know, like that. You know just say, "Oh yeah, by the way, though, enjoy it, innit?" You know, like that. The toilet, yeah, don't flush.
The toilet don't always flush when it's windy. The house shakes. You know what I'm saying? The neighborhood's terrible. Like this, of course, you're not gonna do that. You have an asset to sell. This is why, like you said, take what managers say in press conferences with a pinch of salt, because there could be a time he needs to sell De Gea. Obviously, the only team that was in for him was the Saudi team.
No, 100%. There's no one in for him. That's why this brother's digging his heels in now and he wants to stay. And maybe that will humble him a little bit. Maybe he will stay, but he'll stay accepting, that he's a number two, because he's probably looking at the rest of. That's it. He's looking at his other options, thinking, you know what, the streets are cold, B. You know, like that. And it's just like, bro, I'm just gonna stay, bruv, and just humble myself. You know, like that. That's what it is, and just be throwing tennis balls and that. You get me? Number two goalkeeper and that.
Do your thing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's legit what it is. Hopefully we do sign a new goalkeeper though, because like you said, last line of defense, first line, last line of defense, first line of attack, and that's what's needed.
100.
We've needed a new goalkeeper for the longest, so hopefully if it is Onana or it's somebody else, just get a new goalkeeper.
It has to be Onana. You lot smash the like button. We need 700 likes expeditiously, bruv. It has to be Onana, bro. It has to be. There were links linking him to Saudi Arabia coming out today. Someone in the chat said that. I don't know how accurate that is, but Fabrizio saying, and I'm not saying that Fabrizio is the be all and end all, because I don't trust that, brother. However, he said that move is very, very much alive in it, and we're speaking to him, and it's a personal terms thing. We haven't put in a bid, but there's conversations between the player and the club, which is the order it will come in. Because if we didn't know that he wants to come, what's the point even putting in a fucking bid? Do you know what I mean? So it's one of them ones where like he's got to be him, bro. Like, and I see the Pep quote. Did you see the Pep quote about him as well?
What did Pep say?
Bro,
Oh
like,
yeah.
When Pep was saying, listen, there ain't even no point even pressing this brother, you know, like that, because it's like you ain't getting no change out of him, you know, like that. And that's the highest respect that you could get, from any manager in football, blood. If Pep Guardiola is saying, you know what, like usually we press, but with this brother, there's no point in it. That's the guy you go get in it.
Right. Nah, 110%. Like I said, I've not watched him like that. Obviously, he played well in the Champions League final, and Ten Hag's worked with him before. Get him in. I'm saying, like, get him in 110%. We need a new goalkeeper. If Ten Hag, I trust in that sense, like I said, because it's someone he's worked with before.
Yeah, bro. For me, it's got to be him, innit? You know, like that. If we end up getting him, if we do end up just getting him and Højlund, I can't lie, it's an underwhelming window, It's a very underwhelming window, but it's not the end of the world window, blood. You know, like that. But it's mad underwhelming still. I'm not even gonna lie, but
because of the Mount signing, man. That's what just makes this window just no matter what we do after that. Because it's him, because of the price, because he was first. It's like you were even like the third signing out of 5 where it's in the middle and we can kind of gloss. Like, no, you was the first. You was the first.
You was the first one. You was the marquee, blood. Hey, it's Pete. You know, like that. Mason Mount, bro. Like you literally kicked off my summer window. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's such a bad signing. Everything about it is so bad. I just say all the time. It reminds me of the Ronaldo signing. You know what I'm saying? Like the second time round where I see 0 positives to it.
Yeah,
and at least Ronaldo.
No, there is one positive, blood. There is one
positive,
blood. We don't have to start Eriksen. Jesus, hey, bro,
positive.
Bro,
you know what I'm saying,
bro. Eriksen, towards the end of the season, bro, I swear down.
Yeah, his legs had. But
fam,
I take
this guy. I hate him, blood. I swear, like it's one of them ones where, like, at the beginning when we signed Eriksen, I was like, yeah, this is a good signing. This is a good signing. And now, bro, it's just like. This brother is on life support, bro. Literally, like we're just carrying this youth, blood.
Yeah, because
you know what I'm saying.
Rants, he was on life support. That's why. You know what
I'm saying?
Know. A pacemaker in his chest.
No, I know, but fam, I'm saying, the pace ain't making it no more. Like, you know, them ones there, so man just have to allow it. I'm being honest, When the game slows down, and we need to see a game out, bring on Eriksen. 20 minutes. You know them man. You know when you're 2-0 up and you just want to just see the game out, bring him in. But, bro, you cannot be starting these intense games with this Bray. He cannot move, bro. Cannot move.
That's a fact, and that's on us. I don't think Ten Hag intended to play him as much as he did. But because we didn't get another midfielder, Eriksen just had to play because he was behind him, Fred, McTominay. But I'll even take an immobile, Eriksen over Mount. Because I think Mount is awful. Like, I don't get the signing.
Bruv. Mount gives us legs in there at least that Eriksen don't give us. That's the thing. True. I'm sorry, bro. I'll be real. If you're shit, if you're shit, but you can run, and you're good and you can't run, brother, in midfield, get the shit brother that can run. I swear down, because bruv, midfield is the one place that not being able to run, you can't hide that. I'm sorry.
You can't hide
like that. Bruv, when you're up front, you can be clever and do the little link play thing, bruv. In midfield, if you're not mobile, nothing else matters, bro. I don't care how good you are on the ball, Like, Christian Eriksen needs to have 100% pass completion, in that midfield to justify him being in there. And now you're seeing my man getting caught on the ball and that, bruv. And then misplacing passes like Bruno,
towards the back end of the season, he did. And in
at one point, he was giving the ball away more than Bruno, bruv. And that's when I thought, hold on, what's the point of having this guy, if he's not retaining possession because he can't run?
But I think that was definitely a bad run of form because, like I said, leading up to that in the earlier stages of the season, he was good. Like I say, the fact that they're the two options is a problem because I like Eriksen, but we needed to get a major upgrade on Eriksen. That's not Mount. I said that.
I disagree, bro.
You think Mount's a major upgrade on Eriksen?
I think do you know what it is with the whole Mount thing? Yeah, I'll be real. Like I've sat back and I've listened to what you guys have been saying, and the thing is, price tag. I'm on the same boat. I'll be real. Like price tag for a player that has 1 year to go, where he wants to leave, the club wants him gone. You pay that much amount of money, fair enough. But I'll be honest with you guys, yeah. Like once I accepted what type of ball we're gonna play next year, the Mason Mount signing just made more and more sense for me every single day. And like even like Rants touched on it, where it was like Eriksen couldn't handle the intensity of games. We're gonna be going into pure rock and roll footy next year. Like I've always said, we're trying to play similar to Klopp, the way Liverpool operate. You need legs in the center of the park. And I'll be real, like he's not as bad as he's shown last year, because I'll be real, like I think every Chelsea player was shit last year. Like it's unfair for somebody to come out and say, yo, that Reece James is shit because he had a horrendous season last year. Like it's an unfair judgment. That team was like dysfunctional from player 1 to player 11. He's not that bad. And I'll be real, I've maintained it. Like I think he'll surprise a lot of people.
What I say to that is in regards to, I have no issue with I'm with you on that, Haj, in regards to the football. I have no problem with rock and roll football. Get the guitar out. Let's do the thing. Like I have no issue with that. Just jump in the crowd surf. No problem with the actual football. My problem is if you're going to play that style, go get the best possible player for that style. And there's better options than Mason Mount. That's my biggest issue with that. Because he's just energy. He's not even pace and power. If you're going to play rock and roll, go get me a Genie Wijnaldum, for example. Not saying get him, but
that mold of player,
Liverpool, that mold of player. So that's what it is with Mount. I don't criticize Mount. Do I think he's dead food? No, I just think he's bang average. That's my biggest issue with this. And it's not so much just Chelsea last season. Man has 8 open play assists. What are you giving me? He has 8 open play assists in an entire Premier League career. I thought it was 9. I was giving him credit. It's 8. Like, this is what I'm talking about. So, like, you don't give me anything going forward. You don't give me anything defensively. So if you're going to get someone to go and run around, cool. But I'm saying go get me the best possible version of that is my major issue with this. Yeah, I'm with the Guns N' Roses football. Dude, if that's the way he's going, run with it. But like, go get the best playing style. Go get the best possible players for it. And Mount is just not it. He's really not. He's bang average to me. Average.
Do you know what it is? I think it's because a lot of people, when you look at the Mount signing, you automatically focus on what Mount is bringing in possession. I look at it the opposite way. I look at what Mount brings to this team out of possession. Because, for example, when we signed Christian Eriksen, I remember everybody was gassed because they were like technical, competent in possession. He can break lines. How did that story go? It didn't go well because he didn't have anything off the ball. The team that we're building, you can see the profiles that we're focusing on are players that can give you that work off the ball so they can relentlessly counter press. Because I feel like that's how we're going to try to control games. Rather than controlling possession, we're going to control the press and try suffocate teams. But now, bro, I'll be real. I feel like you're still a bit harsh. Like, I understand GA-wise, he hasn't been that good. And the open play assist, I completely agree with you because that is like a point that like that's one that I have question marks around. But I'll be real, bro. Like the way footy works is you can create a ton amount of chances. If the 9 doesn't put them away, it will never go down as an assist. Like I remember Pogba and Ibra. Pogba created like 50 plus opportunities and Ibra was just missing. And now I'm hearing narratives like, yo, Pogba was shit. And I'm thinking, fam, he literally put them on a plate for man. But because they didn't score, it didn't go down as an assist on the stat sheet or whatever people like to call it.
Ibra was fluffing his lines. I remember that season between Ibra, Mata, who else? But between fucking Jesse, Tony, bruv, listen, Pogba got robbed of about 20 assists.
Yeah, he goes, because I think Ibrahimovic that season scored like 25 goals, and he did much more than that.
And missed more than that. He missed more than that.
But yeah, Haj, to what you're saying, for me, it's not even the GNA thing. It's just like, what are you offering type of out? Like McTominay does that. Like we might as well have just played McTominay in there in terms of energy because he can run around. That's one thing we know. Fred's the same. Fred's all energy. Like that's the type of thing that I'm talking about. Is just in regards to why I have an issue. If you're going to spend 60 million on a player, go get somebody who not only can give you that, but a little bit more. Whether that's goals, whether that's assists, whether that's defensive notes. The reason Chelsea fans were the ones putting him in United shirts. Do I think Ten Hag will improve him? Yes. I do think Ten Hag will improve him. But the fact that we've signed a player and the conversation isn't how's Mount gonna, if we were to sign a bad boy player, let's say Caicedo, for example, just use an example. The talk would be how Caicedo fits in, how he improves Manchester United. But Mount is that bad that the conversation is, yeah, well, maybe Ten Hag can improve. So if Ten Hag can take an average player and make him good, then potentially what could he do with a good player and make him great? Great player, make him top class, etc., etc. Like he's just I just think it's terrible. So I just really
No, but you know what it is, yeah. The way that Ten Hag wants to play, I'll be real, yeah. You don't even need to be a good footballer to look good in this system. You just need to fit the profile that he wants in it. And if you look at the Klopp school book, it's exactly the same, bro. Like when you look at Liverpool, yeah, these men won a Champions League with a midfield of Fabinho and Henderson, bro. Like, I'm sorry.
I rate Fabinho. That Fabinho, not Fabinho now. That Fabinho I rated highly because he was good, but not this Fabinho.
Fabinho ain't never really been great though. Like if you deep it, yeah, when you watch him, like when we got linked with Fabinho, he's a right back at Monaco, bruv. You know them, and that man ended up playing in midfield, bro. It's the system. It's 100% the system. Mason Mount can do 100% do a job, yeah, in the system for us. The football's not going to be great, but I think that the manager can get a tune out of him. What worries me the most is what's in front of that. There's no goals in front of that, and Højlund doesn't change that, in my opinion, bro. There's no goals. Like I've said it a million times. When you look at Liverpool's front five, yeah. Their front five in terms of the attacking players that they've got, yeah, they've all got more goals in them than our players, bro. Like it's looking like, I don't know, they're saying Greenwood's gonna go out on loan to Italy or something like that, bro. You got Anthony who's not scoring enough goals. Sancho's not scoring enough. Martial's not scoring enough. Rashford will score goals, yeah, but we don't know if he's going to score goals next season because Rashford's like that. Like he's had one.
You need him to have a quality season,
but the next season he might score half those goals. Do you know what I mean? Because you can't rely on it, bro.
Yeah. So we got attacking players who don't score goals, and then we have Bruno and Mount who are like whoever you think is better.
And they're not really creative players.
But exactly, they're a similar profile. So I expect Mount to look like Bruno, and Bruno has looked better on the 10, 110%. But not to the point where we're going to do any. I say this is going to be horrible. If we don't sign more players, this is going to be horrible. Bruno,
it's going to be horrible to watch. I think we'll still scumbag results, but I think, to watch it, myth.
I don't even think
it's going to be them games for the radio, blood, them teletext games. You know them one. That's what it is.
I don't mind the football. Like, get me the results in it. I just don't see it happening with this. Those two together are the same, like Mount and Bruno, and I don't like Bruno, so I therefore don't want another version of you, but. You know what I'm saying? We'll see if we don't make. Obviously, that's dependent on goalkeeper. That's dependent on striker. We could sign another midfielder. But currently, as constructed right now, I do not like how we're constructed. We've seen how the wheels fell off towards the back end of the season. And we had someone mentioned it, we had the longest new manager bounce, you know what I'm saying, we've ever seen. Like the way he was getting improved these players, you know what I'm saying, Wan-Bissaka inverting and all them things there. Eventually, your quality is going to show. And Martin Bruno is not it. It's really
no, it's not, bro. But you know what? Like, no.
I hope you might have right. No, I hope
Genie Wijnaldum though. Like, no one was saying Genie and Henderson. Yeah, this slaps. Like, you know, but it worked, bruv.
That's
you know, like that. Like, I'll be honest. Like, we're gonna be playing that haram football, blood. So
I hear that. But if we have the players they had around him, I would not be here complaining. If we had Trent and Van Dijk and Robertson and Salah and Mane and Firmino in those positions, so fullback, centre back, the front three, and I'd shut up and go, you know what? The midfield can just be run. Maybe that's what he's trying to create. He may decide to go and sign a bad boy striker, bad boy goalkeeper, improve fullbacks, and then it's like, all right, this can work. But people forget with Liverpool's midfield, the quality they had around them. They had quality all around them, man. From the goalkeeper all the way to the striker.
Yeah, but that's what that's the bigger problem. That's the bigger problem.
Like, that's
that's a bigger problem than the Mount situation. And that's what I'm saying. Mason Mount coming in, is not the worst thing in the entire world if we have more quality up top, bro. Like, but we don't have nothing. So when we transition, who we relying on to get us goals, bro? Just Rashford.
Mount and Bruno, man.
Them man are not scoring us goals. Mount and Bruno are not winning us shit, bro. I'll be real. Like, you know what I mean? Bruno's goals dried up a long time ago. Like, bro, the first season he came in, he was scoring goals. He was taking penalties. They're like 50% of his goals. Then after that, his goals dried up. Not only did his goals dry up, his GA in general started to dry up. And now he's starting to drop deeper and deeper and deeper. I don't know. Between him and Mason Mount, I don't know what to expect for goals. I don't know what to expect.
You know what it is? I think, like, with Bruno, I'll be real. Nah. Like, as in, Bruno has grown on me. I'll be honest. Like, in the past year, like,
he's got better. Right? You think Ten Hag's improved him as well? Yeah.
Yeah. Nah. I think, like, if anything, like, I think last year, funny enough, like, his GA wasn't amazing, but I think last year was his best season in my eyes. Like, even when you look at the first season when he hit, I think it was like double-digit goals, double-digit assists. Yeah, like last year, Bruno done his job. And the thing is, like, I understand people have question marks. And I've always said, like, Mount is like a similar version to Bruno, but just not as good of a passer or as good of a creator in the final third year. But I think Mount. So I think when you put Mount and Bruno together, I think Ten Hag has realized that when it comes to Bruno isn't the most efficient in possession, which means at times he might surrender the ball because he's like a very aggressive chance creator. Like I always say this, Bruno is a very aggressive chance creator. That's why he creates so many chances. But at the same time, it comes at the cost of possession sometimes. But I think when you partner him up with a player that can like retrieve possession ASAP in Mount, because Mount off the ball, whether even if it was this season, like in his worst ever season, Mount off the ball is very good. Like he will retrieve possession, he will put in a shift. As long as Man United can get possession back ASAP and create the opportunities, which Bruno has shown. Bruno has shown like single-handedly, one-man show, I will create chances for the player on the left, for the player on the right, because he done it this season. Like he put it on plates for Martial, Sancho, Anthony. Where I agree with you, man, is now the focus should be on the attacking players. And I've always maintained, I feel like United have a winger problem that isn't spoken about because our wingers are shit. Like, let's be real. It's just they're good, big, fancy names, but we're all now on the same page. Them man don't score goals. Sweet. If you man don't score goals, what you bring into the table? Because we're going to get the creativity from the center. We're going to get the pressing from the center. We're going to get the ball progression from the center. You man put the ball into the back of the net. But Rashford scored more than 50% of our goals last year, whilst man them were missing one-on-ones.
Mm. Nothing but facts, bro. On the Bruno Fernandes situation, bro. Honestly, he's started to play more deep, innit? He started to play more deep under this manager for whatever reason. Maybe because I think that the manager doesn't have the profile of player that he wants in there, innit? And he knows that Bruno's energy is going to give him that. So I think that towards the latter end of this season, I think that is, you're right. I believe it's some of the best football he's played at the club, even though he wasn't scoring goals or getting assists. I agree with that. But that was only because, in my opinion, he was giving the ball away less than he usually does. And to me, that's a massive improvement for him because on the ball, yeah, he's absolutely catastrophic, bruv. So it's one of them ones where when you said aggressive chance creator, I agree to a certain extent, but I don't like how people quantify what an actual chance is in football, innit? Because every time he gets the ball, he's trying to get rid of it, bro. It's almost like it's a grenade. So it's one of them things where a lot of the time he gets the ball and he puts it into areas where people are kind of present in it, and then they've still got work to do. So when he was playing deeper and he was playing a shorter game, I thought he was a lot more effective for the team. Do you know what I mean? So I liked him in that position. I don't like him in that position long term, but I do believe, as you said, even without the goals and assists, I think that's the best football that he's played for us. But I still, bruv, I just don't think that there's a lot of quality attached to it, bro. I can't lie. I think it's great for what we needed him to do, filling in for Eriksen in that deeper role. But I don't know, bro. Like, higher up the pitch, I just don't believe he's the answer, innit? I don't believe he's the partner.
Middle of the pitch, deeper of the pitch. He's good at times. He was more disciplined this season. That's why I think he was better. Like you mentioned, him giving the ball away less. But for where we're trying to go, is he it? No. Is Bruno a level us up? Because people like to throw that out and say, oh, well, how do we look without him? We haven't seen Manchester United consistently without him. People will take one game and say, oh, look, that's how much we miss him. And because he doesn't get injured, and to his credit, he's always available. We rarely see that. We've not seen. When's the last time? I don't think in the entire time he's been here.
Only one time. I think only one time we didn't have him because he got suspended in the Europa League or something like that.
Yeah, but because he missed a couple games. But the point I'm making is we've never had a 3, 4, 5 game run without him, just to see how we look. I'm not even saying we look better, people. I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying I'd like to see it.
But the thing is, we don't have legs in that midfield, so his aggression in terms of like off the ball, even though he's not like a massive ball winner, just the amount that he runs, if we don't have him, like the ground that he covers, similar to what Mount's going to bring, you miss his presence in midfield more for what he does off the ball than on the ball. Because on the ball, like, I don't rate what he does. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of them ones where I don't know, bro. I think that we have multiple problems, but if we actually think about the style of football that the manager wants to play, Bruno giving the ball away is probably one of like the least of our problems when you think that the manager doesn't want to play possession football anyway, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Because we're not trying to keep the ball and build.
We're not trying to keep the ball, so I don't think the manager cares too much about the fact that we're not keeping it. I think what the manager cares more about is how quickly can we get the ball back, if that makes sense. And if you've got Mount and Bruno in the team,
press.
Yeah, they will. In theory, they're meant to get you the ball back quicker. In theory, innit? Because, bro, in theory, everything's easy, innit? Do you know what I mean?
But they do. That's one thing I will credit those two for, is they do off the ball work and they press well. Never ever will you hear me criticize Bruno or Mount for their off the ball attributes and what they give you off the ball. My problem is eventually we're going to be on the ball and you man are going to have to produce something. And in tough games, like giving the ball up to the opposition all the time is not a good idea. Bear in mind, we are playing in the Champions League. So if we do indeed get a tough group, which could happen, that midfield's in trouble. We've seen how bad it was with our midfield at times this season and previous seasons as well. So add those two in the mix, who I think, like I said, I think they're the same profile. Whoever you think's better, different conversation, but they're the same profile. We've seen one not work. So now we got two. But I hope I'm wrong.
It's like I agree with you with the whole Champions League point, bro. But it's like at the end of the day, if you're going to lose possession and win it back straight away, I don't think it's a problem. Like where Man United got ran through midfield, like I remember, like the one game I always remember is like when we went to the Amex and we played Brighton. Bro, man, then we're losing the ball, but we're not winning it back. Yeah, and I think that's where people used to come around and say, like, oh, Eriksen is such a hologram. Like, oh, Casemiro sometimes is positioning this and this and this and this and that. But if you build a trio in midfield, and then especially with like the inverted fullbacks, if you build like a back five or like even your front five with the whole 3-2-5, like if you just build a team that can retrieve possession, where everybody's on the same page, there's a structured press. Personally, like from a preferences point of view, I enjoy the more controlled possession, similar to City. Yeah, it's just more elegant on the eye. But I'll be real, if man are going to be creating chances or having a very aggressive approach in the final third, and yes, sometimes the ball will go out of play. Sometimes you might give it to a player in the wrong area at the wrong time. We surrender possession, but as long as we're winning it back, I don't think the opposition can do anything. And I think that's what he's favouring at the moment with Bruno and Mount.
Yeah,
I hear that.
That's it.
I hear that. I'm just worried. My concern is giving the ball away and then just not getting it back. And not because we're not good enough to win it back. Because we're playing, you mentioned Brighton. Brighton are a team who are very good, for example, at keeping the ball. Like I said, I hope you man are right. Because I just really know I'm just so against this side. And it reminds me of Ronaldo all over again.
No, bro, listen, I'm with you, innit? Like, I'm trying to remain balanced, but it's one of them ones that I get it, innit? Tactically, I get what the manager's trying to do, but I just don't think that we don't have the players to do that. Do you know what I mean? We don't have the players to do that. Like, even if you want to play transition football, yeah, why do you sign Anthony? Why do you sign him? Did you get what I'm saying? Because that's
why we linked to Harry Kane. Like that's what don't make no sense to me.
That is the most pointless signing in football history. Yeah, if you want to play transition football, blood, because people can say, "Cool, Sancho don't suit transition football." He doesn't, but the manager didn't sign Jadon Sancho. But then you go and sign Anthony, yeah, who is similar in profile to Sancho in a sense that they're gonna invert. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they're not. They would rather come to the ball than go in behind. Like, if you want to play transition football, then you want players that are going to run away from the ball. You want more players like Rashford, more players like Garnacho. Like, you don't sign players like Anthony. Anthony seems like a stupid signing, yeah, if you want to play transition football. And this is my problem with what the manager's doing. And then we're getting linked with Harry Kane, but before we got linked with Nunes and Osimhen, who are run away from the ball players. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, bro, we shouldn't be linked with Harry Kane if we want to play transition football, because he's not a transition player. And this is my biggest problem with everything, blood. It's my biggest problem. Like, it seems like there's no plan. It's like there is, but there isn't, bruv.
Yeah. Well, I said, if Mount tears it up with Bruno, we celebrate, because that means the team's playing well and we're successful, and I was totally wrong on it, which I want to be, like 110%. But yeah, I don't get it. Maybe that shows that the Anthony signing, and then like he's been in the league and he's like, all right, let me switch from this style and go to a completely different style. And that's just unfortunate for Anthony as well, because to get the best out of him.
Yeah, but then why are you bringing him in, blood?
Yeah,
why are you bringing him in?
I think that's what I'm saying. I think he's changed it. I think his intention was to go the possession-based football route, And then after that, he was like, you know what? Nah, let me switch this up. Maybe it's that.
But I don't even think it's transition ball though. Like I'll be honest, like I think.
Well, what do you think it is? You don't think it's rock and roll heavy metal football?
No, I
It's
think
not
it is
possession.
rock and roll, especially in the final third. But I'll be
Yeah.
real, like I still wouldn't say rock and roll is transition ball. Like transition ball for me is like Ollie, where it's like just sit back, let them have the ball, or like even Mourinho in his prime, like sit back, 2 banks of 5, and then just wait for the opposition to make a mistake, and then just go along route 1. I think
Yeah, but that's more counter-attacking than transition, innit? Transition is just a phase of play, innit? Like if all the emphasis is in the transition, the period between defending and attacking in terms of when you win the ball and how you go, as opposed to just sitting back and letting the other team have the ball. Do you understand what I mean?
And they're very similar as well. Like whether it's
So I wouldn't
counter-attacking
say
or
that
similar.
I wouldn't say that. For instance, transition football is what Liverpool play. They don't sit back and let teams have the ball, but they very much press aggressively, and then in the transition is when they kill you in it. But it's still transition because when they have the ball, they're kind of more happy for you to have the ball than them have the ball. Like how many times do you see them score goals by having the ball? Teams sit back and they're popping. A lot of the time when teams play like that, they die against low blocks, bro. And you've seen that they struggle against low blocks like we do, not as much as us, but they still struggle more against low blocks. Whereas teams like Man City that control the game, teams like Brighton, you can sit back against them, they'll pick you off. Do you know what I'm saying? I think that the way that we play and the way that Liverpool play, we almost want you to have the ball and to come at us so we can win the ball off you and then hit you on the transition, as opposed to us sitting super deep and being compact, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So maybe transition the wrong word. Maybe it's just like high energy. It's more heavy metal. It's more rock and roll. That seems to be the way we're going. Which is
I get that.
leads in that's probably a better way to describe where it seems he's trying to go. Is high energy, rock and roll. And again, I have no issue with that style.
I get that. But I think like in today's game, you need high energy, whether you're top of the league or the bottom. But
Yeah, 100%.
I think he wants to build a team where it's more like a team that can adapt to regardless of the situation. So like a team that can cope with a low block, but a team that can also cook on the transition. Because I'll be real, like as in for me, like Anthony shit, but with all the other players, I'll be honest, like when you look at Sancho, for example, like the one narrative that I never got on board with this whole season was like, oh, Sancho needs X profiles and he needs a certain formation and this and that. But when you look back on the season, Sancho had 2 games this year where he was man of the match. Like in my opinion, and I'm a very like harsh critic on Sancho. 2 games where he was man of the match, and those 2 games were transition ball at its finest, and it was against Chelsea and against Everton. Sancho's got it in his locker to like cope with like high energy, high pressing, carrying the ball long distances. So does Anthony. It's just these men pick and choose when to perform, and it's just in the final third they don't have that killer edge that Liverpool have. So I think he's building a team where it's like, sweet, if we come up against, I don't know, like Sheffield United, I think they got promoted, and they decide to sit back against us, that's where I'm going to focus on Sancho's technical ability and his passing in the final third and his intelligence. Anthony, I'll be real, you ain't going to focus on shit because that guy don't bring nothing to the table. But at least with Sancho, he's got nah. Don't get me started on him. That's what it is.
You're my guy, yeah. How we gonna be so heavily critical on Anthony, but then be with the Mount thing?
No, bro. Because at least with Mount, I could at least give you 2-3 things that he gives me. But okay, I'll ask you the question. Like, what's Anthony good at? I don't even want to turn it into an Anthony segment.
No, we won't turn it into it. I think I understand the criticism of him, but I think you're being slightly harsh. One, I think he is a very good ball carrier. Him carrying the ball up the pitch, 110%. The amount of times I've seen him get the ball, whether it's on the right on the touchline or towards the right hand side, and he'll pick up the ball and he'll carry it. That's one thing he's good at. We're talking about off the ball attributes as well. I've seen him get back many a times in terms of tracking fullbacks. That's that's one thing that I didn't understand the criticism of. Do we need to see much more from him? Absolutely. But when he didn't play, and it was more, that's my biggest issue with him was his availability.
Yeah, what he does off the ball is underrated.
That was a big issue. It was. And scored and a few times in the season as well, where big moments he scored goals. And like that's something that people have been very critical of Sancho for is no impact. Like that's one thing. Again, does he need to add so much more? Yes, but I've seen enough in his first season where I go, all right, I'll give you a second season. I'm not gonna write you off completely, but there needs to be improvements. 110%.
No. 100%. Like I said, I'm not saying, yo, it's time to get rid of him or this and that. But I feel like people have sugarcoated the season because even when it comes to Sancho, it's like this is the best way for me to put it when people love to compare the two. It's like when Sancho has a good game, you see Sancho's quality. You see the passing, like you see that killer pass in the final third. You see the intelligence, you see the movement, you see the selflessness. Like you see qualities that are very expensive in today's game. Like just to have a winger that has a killer pass in his locker, you're paying about 30, 40, 50 just for that trait alone. With Anthony, it's like, I'll be real. I've always said defensive winger. Like off the ball, he gives man a shift, and I respect him for that. I love his mentality. I'll be real.
Yeah.
But bro, I can't justify Man United signing for their mentality because in possession, I don't see killer pass. I don't see dribbling in tight areas. I don't even see consistency. Like when he cuts in and shoots, 1 out of 15 attempts goes in. Like I look at him and I'm like, bro, I'm judging you off face value. Like I don't know anything about you. I didn't sit down and watch Ajax. I don't know anything about this guy, but I'm like, I've watched you and I struggle to see what you're good at besides putting in a shift defensively. And bro, like at the end of the day, you have to bear in mind next season, I think there'll be more focus on Anthony and Sancho if they are starters, because you have to bear in mind, if United are going to retrieve possession quicker, it means we're going to get possession to our attacking players quicker than we did last year. And people are now going to have higher expectations of Anthony. Like, go on. Like, not to mention the fact that he's one-footed and he's one-dimensional and he can't take on his man. Like, that's
he needs to add into that to his game, like in terms of adding more dimensions. But that's being a young winger. So it's kind of like, yes, now we need you to see more. Because I actually seen him at times in the latter half of the season actually go down the outside and use his right foot. I remember doing watch-alongs and laughing about it, like, right, this is the second game, third, fourth game in a row. Anthony has gone down the outside and swung in a cross or a pass with his right foot. But I think I can't underestimate, like I said, his ability to, we're talking transition when we're talking about it, his ability to take the ball from defensive areas into offensive areas as well. Always wanting the ball as well. Like whether he plays well or he's played badly, I remember him. Too many games. My biggest issue with Sancho is impact. I don't remember you playing. Like that's the biggest concern. Like the quality is there with Sancho. Like I hate criticizing him. I'm a big fan of his, super talented, but impact. There's too many games where it's like you haven't played. Like whereas with Anthony, it's like I remember you playing bad, or I remember you playing well. I remember like I legit watch games and I don't remember Sancho.
But the fact that you remember Anthony not playing well, and you don't remember Sancho not playing well, is the thing is with Jadon, if he doesn't have an impact on the GA, most of the time, he don't give the ball away and he's just safe, innit? People say, oh yeah, cool, he's not direct enough and stuff like that. That's why even when he gets subbed off, man gets subbed off with 88% pass completion, innit? Like this is what he does, innit? Like a lot of the time he doesn't do nothing eye-catching, and he don't get the credit for it. With the Anthony thing, I just think that Anthony's just a bit too predictable, innit? Like that's what it is. He's a bit too one-dimensional, bro. Like Sancho is clearly the better player. Like I don't think anyone's gonna argue that. But the point is, I just think that Anthony gives us some stuff off the ball that Sancho doesn't give us. Sancho gives us stuff on the ball that Anthony doesn't give us. I think that they can both, play well at this club, but I think it's a lot to do with what's around them as well, bruv. Because they have very particular skill sets, and both of them, they need players close to them, innit? They're not players that can play well in isolation. Like, what's his name? Rashford can play better in isolation. Even a Garnacho, they'll kick it down the line, bruv, and show them studs. You get me? Like Rashford and Sancho and Anthony ain't gonna do that.
You know what? As much as like
they're not gonna do that.
The eye-catching to people, the ability to do that as a winger is needed. Because you mentioned it there with Sancho and like him, like I would. But
it is if you don't have players close to you.
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying? But this is where maybe having a Mount higher up, or maybe a Bruno higher up to connect with them. I feel like Mount's going to play ahead of Bruno. I feel like Bruno's going to play in the.
You don't think it'll be a 6 and 2 8? You don't think it'll be that?
It never is, bro. Even when people say
you think he'll change though? Like,
no, but even if it is a 6 and 2 8, there's always one player that stays up higher. We already know. Like it's the same. Like when you play centre back, there's always one that attacks the ball and one that sweeps in it. Even though you're both playing centre back, everyone's got a role. I think that Bruno will be more deep getting involved, and Mount will play more as a 10, as in higher up, pressing, initiating the press and all that. I don't think Mount's going to play deeper than Bruno. I could be wrong, but I don't think so, innit? So it'll be one of them ones. If Mount is higher up, I think that he's better at connecting, and maybe that might bring better out of our wider players, because he might be able to connect. Do you know what I'm saying? We'll be able to see, but we're not really sure yet. But ultimately, with Sancho and Anthony, because of the fact that the team hasn't looked so good cohesively, I still want to see what they look like when the team as a whole is playing better, especially in Anthony's case, because I don't really have any doubts about Sancho's ability and what he can give. But the Anthony thing is frustrating because he's very, very predictable, bruv. Like people saying in the chat, he doesn't go down the outside. That's fine.
You don't do
I don't
enough.
mind. I don't mind that you don't go down the outside, but when you come inside, yeah, have an impact, bro. Like these little tame shots when you cut inside, bruv, like tame shots straight at the keeper or trying to curl it every time and it goes like a foot wide and stuff like that most of the time. It's very annoying, bruv.
No,
Do you know what
the
I'm
thing
saying?
is, he can go down the outside though, because I've seen him do it. It's just that do it more. Like,
But he
add
doesn't
more
want
your game.
to though, bruv.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like you gotta add that, because that's gonna add to what we're talking about in terms of, that's my second biggest critique of him. Him being one-dimensional. I think you have more attributes that allow you to get more out of your game. But this season, I will be much more tougher with my criticism of him, because it's all right, second season now. Second season in, you've been here a year. You know the vast majority of the players. You need to step up. So I'm expecting much more, and I'm expecting much more appearances as well. I think he only played like 23, 24 league matches. Not enough. Not enough. Too injury, but like you were injured too often. You need at least 33, 34, 35 games from you in the Premier League season if you're going to be the starting right winger. 100%.
Yeah, and I think you know what it is with Anthony. It's like there's no diversity to his game. Like besides him lacking a left foot or a right foot, it's like even when Rants said it, like when he picks up the ball and he cuts in, everybody knows what he's doing. Like as in, it's not even about like some players when they cut in, they'll try like fake shot, beat a man, create a better angle. No. As soon as he cuts in, he's shooting. Like some players will cut in, play a 1-2, cut in, switch play, cut in, put a cross into the box. It's always cut in and shoot. And I've always said, if your conversion is amazing and like you're like an Iron Robin, for example, but fair play, do your thing, innit? He ain't no Iron Robin and he'll never be. So it's like play a team game rather than play for yourself. And it's like so many times this year I've watched him and I'm like, bro, like do this, do that. Trust me, like it might not be the most fancy on the eye, but it benefits the team as a whole. Yeah, it's like with him, he just baffles me. And I think personally, I feel like there's only place for one of them. Either Sancho or Anthony. I think if Man United try to persevere with them two as our wingers, we're pissed.
I don't think we will, though, because I think it will be Rashford, Garnacho. I think they're favoured over that side to Sancho. So I think it'll be either one of those two and Anthony, unless we do indeed sign a right winger or we don't know what's going on with Diallo, which I'm cool with. Like I said, I've seen enough from Anthony where I go, I will give you a second season. But there needs to be improvements. You can't have this. Now we need you to see you go up in terms of your trajectory. Like you said, add more to his game, more dimensions to his game, more goals, more assists. Everything else is cool. But yes, you need to start having, we need both. Like people act like, oh, you can get goals and assists, but then not pass the eye test. Or pass the eye test and don't get goals. No, both. Mix both. That's what needs to be done.
No, 100%. Big up the chat. You lot get them likes up to 800.
Put the likes
you lot saying that we've been linked to the Amra, but have we though, blood? Because honestly, yeah, I swear to God, most of you guys have just been linking us with guys on Twitter, yeah, and then man, all of a sudden, man are saying that these are legit links, bruv, and I'm not seeing no sources, bro. You know, like that. Like I'm not seeing no sources, bro. Like I don't know where this Amrabat talk is coming from. To be honest. Also, Romano said something about Højlund as well. Like they're saying that they want 60 million euros or something for him. 60 million euros isn't a lot of money.
Which is like 45 million pounds, something like that. That's not too bad, though.
That's not bad.
Actually all right. That's okay in today's market for some of the prices being quoted for certain players.
Yeah, that's not the worst, bro. You know what I mean? That's not the worst one.
For his profile as well, he's paid some power, man. Like and we're trying to go that route. That's the way the system's going. That's the way football's going. It's like, you fit cool. I say get him in 6'3", pace and power, technically decent. Why not? And I seen no comment before you put up about his Poch trolling Spurs fans already. I'm saying, talking about Chelsea have been the biggest club in London for the past 15 years or some shit like
But he's not lying though. He's not lying though, bro. Like, bruv, he's not lying, bro. When you look in the past 15 years, bruv, they're the only team here that's really won one major trophy.
Nah, that's just funny from him though. You know what I'm saying? Because there's still certain Spurs fans who defend him and that. And it's like, yo, you gotta get that, man. He's with the ops now.
Bruv, listen, Levy probably still owes my money. You know them ones. Like, it's like when you leave Spurs, you're no longer a Spurs fan because nobody leaves on the right side of Daniel Levy, blood. So straight away, as soon as you end up leaving Tottenham, it's beef immediately. You know, like that. And that's what it is. And now Pochettino's there. He's like, yo, fuck Tottenham, innit? Like, look at this. We need to be sure that we bring the thing that the club needs to be in top. The history of the club is to be in the top. You see what I'm saying, bro? Like, he's never been able to utter those words in England before, you know, like that. And this is just what it is. So now he's got extra chest blood. Like, this is just what it is.
It's gonna be interesting, yo. Them Chelsea Spurs, them 2 Premier League games are going to be spicy.
Horrible, bro. They're gonna boo him. 100%. They're gonna boo him, blood.
I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? I want him to cup his ears to the crowd, like do the whole. You know what I'm saying? Make it very pantomimish. Like, that's what I'm with. I want to see as much, you know what I'm saying, much carnage as possible. That's what I'm trying to see, because them two teams don't like each other as it is. Poch has just added an extra ingredient. Chaos. That's what I need, man. I need chaos.
No, 100%, bro. But you know what it is with Pochettino, yeah? Like, I don't know. I guess it's just the football fan in me, yeah, that just wants to see him do well at Chelsea. Not better than us, obviously, but I wouldn't mind seeing him do well because I think a lot of the disrespect that's been put on his name is unwarranted, innit? Do you know what I mean? I think it's a lot of unwarranted disrespect, bro. And I think people are forgetting, yeah? People are forgetting that not only cool they didn't win a trophy, bro, but when you look at what he was doing with the players he had, the money he wasn't spending, yeah? Like, and also the style of football, bro. Like, Pochettino was playing some good football as well with Tottenham. Like, people forget in it because it's Spurs, bro. Like, I say the same thing about Man City. Man City less so now, but remember Man City before when they had David Silva and them, man. These man would never get into Ballon d'Or things because they played for City. No one gave a shit about City. Do you know what I'm saying? It was just like, bro, Aguero and them, man, yeah, they were winning all these trophies in England, bro. Nobody cared because they played for Man City. They weren't getting into no World 11s, no Ballon d'Or chat, nothing because you was playing for Man City. And it's almost like, because it's Tottenham, yeah, no one's talking about the football. Like, everyone's eulogizing over the football being played at Brighton and all these other things. But, bro, Poch was cooking, bro. You know, like, he was actually cooking. Everyone's talking about the Zerbi. Everyone's talking about what's his name at fucking Newcastle and all these other things. Bro, yeah, bro. Poch had these men in the Champions League final.
Because people do forget that not only did they reach the Champions League final, but he solidified Spurs as a top 4 side. That had never happened before he had got there. Yes, he should have won a trophy.
And even the London derbies and that there, bro. Like, at home, Spurs were beating Arsenal, like, nearly, like, bro, like, we weren't seeing that before, Poch.
Yeah. That's what it is. Like I say, he should have won a trophy or domestic cup 110%. That's the only black mark. Everything else he did there, he overachieved. Like I said, no one expected them to become a solidified top 4 side. Them playing the football he did, the team reaching the Champions League final, even outside of that, getting further in Europe as well. So it's kind of like, yeah, the disrespect is people try and tag him in with Spurs and try to say, oh, it's Spursy. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, but of course, but they're doing the McFred thing, innit? Like, just try to put their man together and that. Like, that's what they're doing with Pochettino, and Spurs are not synonymous, bro. Pochettino's Pochettino.
Facts, but then when you try to put that Spursy thing on Harry Kane, certain people don't want to hear it. It's a whole different conversation. That's not his fault. He's not involved. Like, he's not played in all those matches. All them games we call him and we say, oh, Spursy tax. He was there. Played. But people like to overlook the fact that in certain games he's not doing. Oh, well, he scored 30 league goals and 25 league goals and that. Yo, what did he do in them cup competitions when them man are playing Sheffield United and Nottingham Forest and getting knocked out? Where he played.
Nah, he did. He deserves it. Like, I'll be real. Like, I remember even before we appointed Ten Hag, like, I was petitioning. Like, he wasn't my number 1 option, but I was like, yo, like, people are putting like disrespect on his name because of how his PSG tenure went, yeah. But let's be real. How many top managers have gone to PSG and it hasn't really worked out? Yeah, like, it's a club where the board tell you what formation to play, who to sign. But what he done at Southampton and Tottenham, like, bro, and I think the one thing where he fits Chelsea like a glove, I'll be real, is the is the player development side. Like this
Yeah.
guy, like what Dele Alli, MK Dons. I can guarantee you, if he had gone to 80% of the managers at the time in the league, he would have probably gone back to MK Dons within a year. Like the way he developed him, like Dele Alli was, the way people were speaking about him, it wasn't overhyped, it wasn't exaggerated. Like, bro, man was giving you the GEA, man was passing the eye test, like man was improving. Like players under Poch were improving season after season after season, rather than giving you one good year and then dropping off the season after that. And I feel like the Liverpool final, yeah, like that's where people love to like discredit him and spill some dirt on his name. But it's like, I don't think anybody expected them to win.
No, but they were also very unlucky, bro. Like that wasn't a handball for me, yeah. And it's like that was anyone's game, bro. They were both shit in that final.
It's just that one was.
It was a shit final. It was a crap final. Yeah,
yeah. They were both shit. Do you know what I mean? And I think that he shouldn't have started Harry Kane in that final when he bottled it personally. However, it's easy to say when it's his first Champions League final and Harry Kane's his best player in his eyes, isn't it? So he made the decision. I think it was the wrong one. However, in general, that final was anyone's, bro.
Yeah.
It was. You know what's crazy? Sorry, just to cut you off. Like, you know what's crazy is the fact that he got that team to a final that year, and he spent 0 in the summer. And the fact that right now we're sitting down saying, "Yo, primary option was Kane, and then the second choice was Lucas Moura." Like that speaks volumes. The fact that that was who they had in attack, Kane, and then the backup was Lucas Moura, and he still got them to a Champions League final. Like respect needs to be put on his name.
100%. You know what I mean? And they're so quick to disrespect him, and a lot of the disrespect he get is the Spurs thing. Do you know what I'm saying? So a part of me wants to see Poch cook at Chelsea, but just as long as they don't do better than us, I don't care, innit? But I feel like there needs to be some vindication because he must be fuming, with the disrespect that gets put on his name, because he's a top coach, bro. Like he's genuinely a top football coach. I don't understand. And like you said with the PSG thing, we've seen Conte there. Do you know what I'm saying? And it didn't work out for him. Like, blood. We saw the racist there. You get me? Them emails from Gaultier are funny, but I don't care. They're hilarious, blood. You know what I mean? Because he just looks like it. You know, sometimes man just look racist. Like it's like their eyebrows or something. You know them. I don't know. There's something. You just look at man and you can just tell by a man's eyebrows and that they're racist, bruv. Nah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. You know, you're looking at man's face and there's like a twinkle in their eye. You know what I'm saying? Where like the hard R's just start rolling, fam. You know what I mean? It's just one of them ones. But a lot of these men that go to PSG as coaches, Tuchel as well, it doesn't work, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it can't always be all the managers, bro. It can't be. That's when you need to start looking at the structure of the club. Like even the Mbappe roller coaster where he was going to Real Madrid and then he stayed and then all of a sudden he's the director of football and that. Like, come on, bro. Them things there ain't good for like the morale of the team. And that's why their fans are getting mad now and they're booing the players when really they should be taking it out on the owners. But really, like now the fans, you got these man booing Messi and that. Like shit's out of control, bruv. Shit's out of control. Yeah, the club is a mess.
Yeah, it's a poison chalice. It's like the England job, man. Like that ain't set up for you to succeed. Like, and the PSG job's worse because we've seen and Haj mentioned it. We've seen all the top managers leave and then go on and be successful in Europe elsewhere. I'm saying we watched Tuchel leave, we watched Emery leave, Emery left and won more.
Yeah, Emery as well.
Tuchel left, won a Champions League, and Ancelotti left, won a Champions League. It's kind of like, so how's Poch going further in Europe with Spurs than he is with PSG?
Bruv, and Carlo can work anywhere, bro. He is the epitome of pragmatist here. Like this guy, listen, that guy turns shit to Shandy all the time, blood, and he couldn't do nothing there.
Shandy.
You know them, he couldn't do nothing there, bro. You know, like that, and that tells you everything you need to know, innit? If Carlo can't make it work, no one can. You know, like that. You have to start looking at the structure.
No, that's what it is. Like people always love to do the whole like they've got P's and this and that. Like I think PSG as a club, like especially the past 5-6 years, like that will go down in the history books because people will see like an institution that had money, they had pull, like. There was a period where like people couldn't wait for the season to start just to watch Mbappe, Messi, and Neymar. Like I was expecting them to tear it apart. But when you haven't got people upstairs that know how to build a team, that know how to treat employees, like you can't appoint a manager and start telling them how to play, who to start. Like, the reports of Mbappe going to, I can't remember who the manager was, I think it was Pochettino, and telling him, I demand to be on penalties, corners, and free kicks. Bro, what if the other guy is better than you at corners?
Yeah.
Like, you're hindering the team. But I feel like as the seasons went on and they didn't win that Champions League, they got more and more desperate, because when the Qataris took over in the beginning, they weren't that lenient. Like, they were giving managers a bit of time to do their thing, to implement their play style. Like, Tuchel was the only manager that really done bits over there. But ever since Tuchel, they began to get more and more involved, because I feel like they got more and more desperate. And I'll be real, giving Mbappe that contract they gave him last year is the number one sign of desperation.
100%. Couldn't have put it better, and that's what I mean. And I think that we're at a weird place now where it looks like Enrique is going to be, I don't know, they've almost brought him in to change the culture at the club, but I don't know if they're too far gone, innit? Like, they're trying to get rid of the big names now. They're trying to sign more system players as opposed to going for big names and stuff like that. Maybe it'll work out, but I don't know. I think we're getting to the point where PSG's kind of at the end of its cycle, blood, and I could see the owners selling up, bruv. Like, I could see them selling up. I feel like they're bored now. They tried a thing, didn't work out. Cut your losses, you know what I'm saying, and you move somewhere else, bruv.
We either got to sell or do a hard reset. It's one of those two things. Like, this can't carry on. Like, it's sell up or reset and just clear everything out and go again. Blow it up and go again.
No, 100%. You know what I mean? How do you think Enrique is going to do anyway over there, Hadj? Same as everyone else?
I think with Enrique, bro, like, and Enrique is tough work. Like, Enrique is one of those types of managers where for him to ball out, bro, he needs to do what he wants to do. He needs to get the players that he wants. And I'll be real, yo, to play Enrique ball, like, you have to have like a form of intelligence to you. Like, you have to be technical. But I'll be real, like, if I'm a manager and I'm mid negotiations with PSG and I'm already seeing PSG make signings, and I'm thinking, like, I didn't approve my man. Like, he might not, like, I'll be real, the whole Ugarte thing. They're signing Ugarte and they have no manager. Like, imagine the manager comes in and says, yo, you're like, Ugarte is like a destroyer DM. I don't want to destroy a DM. I want like a Rodri, a player that's like elegant in possession, one that can break lines, one that can progress the ball forwards. What am I going to do with Ugarte? But Ugarte is going to come with his own demands because he's a new signing. He's going to have to start. But Enrique, I think he'll win the league. Like, every manager wins the league, you know. I think he'll win the league. But I'll be real in it. I agree with you. I think they'll sell because, to be fair, he'll need a lot of P's, because like the project at the moment is they're trying to build like a team that's like French from the core, where they do a similar thing to Bayern, where it's like sign Mandem from the French league and just rely on that to dominate. And to be fair, French league does have a lot of nice players, but do I think it's fancy enough for PSG? Like, but PSG want big names. Like, at the end of the day, it's their brand. I think he'll win the league, but I think in 2 years he'll be gone as well. And then that's when I think they'll sell.
Yeah, but that's what Man City done at the beginning. But I feel like PSG aren't at the beginning stages in their development. They've had money for long enough now. At the beginning, Man City did that when they were signing Wilfred Boney and them brothers there from the league and shit. They done that. They done the Craig Bellamy thing. They done all of that. You know what I'm saying?
And that.
Yeah, they done that. The Nasri and that. They just robbed Arsenal at the beginning. Bruv, they did that. Do you know what I mean? So PSG are reverting back to that after trying to do the superstar thing and it died, didn't it? Like, I don't know. It's a bit weird, bruv. I just feel like they might be too far gone in that instance, and it could be a bit shit. But I'm interested to see what Enrique does do over there, innit? To see how if he can implement his style, because notoriously managers haven't been able to. Like, none of them.
Because they got a lot of stuff up in the air, because Mbappe's still there. His future's uncertain. Neymar's still there. His future's uncertain. What's going on?
But you know what it is? I'll be real. I think Enrique might hit the jackpot in a sense where he'll be the first manager that now walks into this team where there's no superstars in attack. Like, for example, like with Poch, like Poch is a pressing manager. You can't get Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe to press. Like, they're just not those types of players. Like, especially, but Messi strolls around. But I'll be real, with Messi, you give him that leeway because of what he gives you in possession, yeah. But I think with Enrique, he might hit the jackpot because I think if it's just Mbappe, you can afford to have one passenger out of possession, if you know what I mean. But when you've got three,
it's a wrap.
In a very physical and intense league like the French league, it is a problem. Not to mention the Champions League. Them man always get spanked whenever they come up against any competent team in Europe that knows how to press, that has a structure, because you've got three man in attack that are amazing in possession, but some of the worst. To be fair, Neymar is good off the ball. Like, he doesn't get spot.
He gets. He's underrated at what he does off the ball. People think that he just walks around. He doesn't.
Yeah, no. Neymar, I'll give him his respect. Yeah, but like the other two, I've watched PSG. They strolled around. So maybe Enrique being able to build his own attack without those three, or even if it's just Mbappe, it might work in his favor.
Yeah, maybe. It's I think it is very much dependent on players like him, because you know his like you mentioned it, Haj, in regards to the style he wants to play. He needs his players, so it will be interesting.
No, 100%. Before you wrap up, man, them French riots, blood. Please tell me you're seeing the zoo animals.
Yo, it's mad. What's going on?
I see King Kong on the top of the building and that, bro. Hey, bro, I swear down, fam. Hey, I'm fucking screaming, bro. I man see a orangutan on the top of some building. I don't know how it got up there. Yeah, I seeing zebras dusting down the street. Bro. Yeah. This shit is crazy. I can't believe it.
Why are they writing? What's going on? What's happening? What is it?
Shows from you, innit?
Yeah, some kid got killed. I think he was like wrong place, wrong time. Like, he had no involvement with the incident, and they just killed him, and he was a kid, and then they rioted. But like, yo, them man don't play games. Like, them man, when they riot, like they've taken control of whatever the French TFL is. I'm seeing man them drive trains and shit. Like, it's crazy. I'm telling you.
Nah, they're brazy.
I'm guessing it was the police, or the police shot like someone who wasn't involved. They shot a young kid. Yeah. Hey, riot. Salute to the French.
Yeah, right. But bro, they're just showing you, that if everyone's on smoke, there's not enough police officers in the whole country 100%. To deal with what they're doing. They can't shoot everyone. They can't put everyone in jail because there's not enough space. Facts. You know, like that. And that tells you, bro, the world is yours, blood. If man them really want to take control of it, you can take control of it. I see a brother with his foot on the policeman's head, bro. I was tired. I was like, hold on. I was just like, yo, these man are moving crazy. Do you know what I'm saying? So, bruv, like, nah, this is crazy. I can't even lie, bro. I can't even lie. When I was watching it, and I'm seeing the animals on the road, I'm seeing a brother driving the forklift down the road, and I'm thinking, yo, this is crazy. Like, this is a real life movie. What's going on over there? And it's only down the road as well. So, shit's funny, blood.
Yeah, man, I'm with that. Hey, salute to them, right? Because I didn't know why they was rioting, but obviously I did see the animals and stuff like that just running around. So, hey, salute to the French, everybody involved, man. Like.
Yeah, but this ain't their first rodeo. But this is why I tell people, Brad, listen, any people, that can execute their own royal family in public, like, bro, you have to take them seriously. Like, bro, if you know the history of that country, they chop man's head off, blood. Like, their man beheading their royal family in the streets, blood. You know what I'm saying? Man getting tomatoes thrown at them and that. So these men have been on smoke, innit? So I don't know. When my man can do that, hey, bro, it's brazy. It's really looking like a movie out there, blood. Jumanji and that. Shout out the chat though. Get us up to 800 likes. We're on 787. We're almost there, bruv. Someone's just put this in the chat saying I'm hearing some big things happening tomorrow. Once that happens, him and Rio can have the conversation on the Man United takeover. I don't know. Tomorrow is what day? Tuesday? Ain't nothing happening on a Tuesday, fam. You know them ones. 4th of July is also that's a holiday in America. So nothing ain't happening tomorrow, fam. You know, like that. I'll be very surprised, innit? I'll be very, very surprised because of the stock exchange and all that. I don't even know. 4th of July, them man, they're going to be eating their food, blood. Them man are not going to be, you get me? They're not going to be locked in like that. So I don't think so, innit? But I think something's happening soon, though. Do you know what I'm saying?
I hope so, man. I really, really hope so, man. We need this takeover. We need this takeover desperately.
No, 100%. So, it's going to be lit. Hey, man, then, what you got coming up for the rest of the week, rest of the day?
Yeah, go on, Hutch.
I have like the occasional United show or like just in general footy show, like chat other teams. But yeah, like there's no scheduled date for them. They're very freestyled.
Live, obviously, people Sarcasm City TV. Rest of the week, man, will be live. So check out the upcoming live stream schedule. Live at 6 p.m. obviously doing the Manchester United show. I didn't do earlier because I'm on here. So big up to Rants, big up Haj as well. So yeah, like I say, 6 p.m. So just under half an hour from now, and then the transfer show doing the most at midnight, Premier League transfer show, where we just discuss all the biggest transfers. So yeah, big up Sarcasm City TV on YouTube and Twitch.
That's it, people. The links to the channels are in the title. You know what I mean? Make sure you subscribe up. Make sure you smash the like, people. And I'll see you guys in a bit.